Hello, podcast listeners. Grab yourself a tall drink of water and enjoy this episode of JJ Meets World, where we literally are going to cross the internet several times. And by the way, if you'd like to help support our podcast, visit jjmeetsworld.com, where you can donate to our Patreon, pick up some killer swag at our merch shop, or click the link to Apple Podcast and give us a 5-star review.
1, 2, 3, 4. J.J. Gordon, sort of like that Indiana Jones, in that he's always sniffing out his next adventure. Yes, he is! He's always interviewing guests so he can have them on his show and they can talk about pop culture, arts, and leisure. J.J. has his flag unfurled and he likes his french fries curled, and he's fun and then he twirls as he goes to meet the world. He will march into the rain even if his ankle sprain. Take a peek inside his brain. This podcast is called J.J. Meets World.
My relationship with water has always been sort of interesting in the fact that I swim like a fish. I love to be in the water, be on the water. Maybe one day, if I play my cards right, I can walk on water. We'll find out eventually. But when I was a kid, I think that my parents made a wise choice and they put me in swimming lessons that I took at a local college. And every now and then I think of something that kind of brings me shame from my past. And one of them was they had a high board at this place. And I remember at the end of swimming lessons, like my third year, if you wanted, you could go and jump off the high board. And I went and I did it and it was great. And then I went up again and I was up there, and then all of a sudden I panicked and I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. And my cousin Stacy was there and she had to watch me, because there's a line of people like waiting to climb up the ladder, right? And then watching me climb back down the ladder and be like, nope, I can't do it. I can't do it. But beyond that, I'm a very good swimmer, like to the point of where if I feel like if I was in a nautical situation, I might be able to tread water longer than other people who are on the same celebrity cruise that I was on that was attacked by pirates. It's just something that I've always felt deep down inside my guts. And I'm a really good water skier. I'm good at like diving. I can hold my breath for quite a while. Nobody is better as the base for playing a game of chicken in the water than this guy right here. I'm telling you, you want to get on my shoulders.
Yeah.
And because the thing is, like, I use the power and I can tip you forward, which gives you a little extra oomph when you're playing to push that other person over.
Yeah, you got to find yourself a small little master blaster to sit on your shoulders and you'd be unstoppable.
So, okay, someone with real strong arms. I've actually thought about this a couple times before. If I could find somebody who like had recently just got off of crutches, because they would have been using their upper arms a lot recently, but they still have that good way to, clamp onto my shoulders the way you need to. Tucker, I'm curious, how do you feel about the water?
About going in the water? It's not my jam. I've done it. I know how to swim, but I don't. When I was a kid, I was like, yeah, I don't know. I'm in the water. I don't really want to be. I'm not really liking this at all. So I would typically, when I would do water, like when I would do aquatic stuff, it would be fishing primarily.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Otherwise, I'll go swim in a swimming pool, but it's been years since I've ever even done that. Yeah. So just not my jam, I guess.
My sister bought a house with a pool, and it's one of the greatest things that's ever happened. Even though I'm not doing a lot of like swimming, I'm mostly doing floating when it comes to that pool, but do I love it.
Guys who like to grill love to be in pools.
Yeah, to like bob up and down in the water.
It's the other half of the ritual, I think, for you guys.
I think you might be absolutely correct. I've never put those two things together.
Yeah.
But I think that you might be right. And we all fantasize about having a pool next to our grilling area, right? So that you can be like, everyone out of the pool, ribs are ready.
I'm trying to think of anyone that I know who not only is good at grilling, but identifies as someone who is good at grilling, if you know what I mean. I don't know a single person who is like that, who would say no to a pool invitation.
I have always thought that maybe I should get good at the other definitions of grilling. Like I should get good at interrogation.
Mm-hmm.
because then I could be like, listen, I'm going to grill this guy and then I'm going to grill this burger. And people will be like, oh, I understand because he's both good at cooking meat and interrogation.
You know how you and I have talked about how at some point we want to bring this back into an interview format? We should bring this into an interrogation format.
Oh, I would love that.
Where you bring in people and then you just fucking read them the riot act. Where were you Friday?
Okay, so here are some podcasts that I think that we could launch one day. You know, we've been saying this for 7 years now that we're going to launch other podcasts under the JJ Meets World umbrella, and maybe one day we will. But this is one of them. I thought of one where I give couples advice. And people could listen to it, and then they like essentially we release, like we maybe do that in real time, and then people could send us that, and then episodes end with like a check-in, just like how the dating game did it, where you'd be like, okay, how did things work out? You know, did JJ's advice, was that a good thing that you both grow tomatoes and then your tomatoes represent your love? That would be one where I solve crimes that don't matter. That one I think could be a real humdinger.
Mm-hmm.
And the crimes would be things like this. You're allowed to take one provided free map when you go to the Heritage Center, but someone took 6 or 7 because they were going to turn it into an art project, and JJ Gordon busted them, took care of business. Side note, I'm really sick and tired of people who are like, oh, I'm an artist, and that means I have an excuse to just, not care about things like bills or other people's feelings.
This is something that's happened to you recently?
I see it. I see it all the time. I see those people who are like, I'm a starving artist and you should respect that more. But really what they mean is, I want money for what I'm doing, and I'm mad at you for having money because, you work a 9-to-5 job. And it's starting to piss me off.
So what happened? Okay, so what's the most recent incident that has brought this to your attention?
I can't talk about it, or I will be incensed. I will not be able to finish it. But I will tell you this. At one point, when you start watching the musical Rent, you start agreeing with Benny, the guy who owns the building, and being like, yeah, why do you guys think you don't have to pay rent in a building? Are you kidding me?
I hate
Of course
that
you
musical.
have to pay rent.
I just hate that musical. I just hate hearing the songs from it. I don't have any political stance about it. I just straight up don't want to listen to it ever again. I have a question for you.
Okay, is it about Mrs. Doubtfire?
No, it's about water.
Oh, I love water. Talk more about water.
Well, that's just it.
Here's a weird thing. I love being in water. I love soaking in it. I love swimming in it. Like I said, I love recreation on top of it. I don't drink nearly enough of it. Like, I'm not drinking water. I'm drinking Diet Coke.
Was that the point you had set out to at the beginning? Because that's what I wanted to ask, was you were saying you have an issue with water.
Yeah, I have an issue. I have a big issue.
You just don't drink enough of it. So JJ, I'm going to recommend a subreddit for you.
Oh, okay.
And this is a subreddit that I am a proud member of. And I actually would recommend anyone listening to this, even people who really aren't into Reddit or don't know what Reddit is, I would recommend you visit the website reddit.com/r, okay, the letter R, /Hydro Homies.
Hydro Homies.
Hydro Homies. It is a subreddit completely devoted to people who love to drink water.
Really?
And it's people like posting photos of like a frosted water glass where it's like the condensation is showing up in the outside, and they're like, oh man, I'm about to slam this bad boy back. And everyone's commenting on the photos of how good the water looks. And then they'll even post Hydro Homies spotted in media where characters are drinking water, or celebrities are advocating for drinking water. So I would put Hydro Homies in your Reddit rotation so that you are receiving more of a positive, a hydro positive message.
Oh, I love I love the idea that it's hydro positive.
We're going to be hydro positive on this podcast.
Let me tell you something about hydration. Right now, the younger kids, the children's, are the most hydrated generation ever. Because they walk around with those water bottles everywhere. They're constantly drinking water.
They've all got great flow.
I mean, do you think that's what I'm surprised that you don't see kids going to the bathroom more often. Or maybe I just don't notice.
I'm not watching enough to take data on this, so I don't even
like our elementary schools just constant.
If you guys notice, kids don't go to the bathroom as often as they used to.
I was recently with somebody who has a problem, must have a very small bladder, right? And has to go to the bathroom on a pretty frequent basis. And so I've gotten good about planning around them. So when I go to pick them up, I always say, did you go to the bathroom? No, I'm okay. And I'm like, well, go inside and go to the bathroom because it's going to be like 30 minutes before we get to our destination. And be like, no, I'm good. And then I have to be forceful and a little paternal when I'm like, go inside and go to the bathroom.
Who do you know that you have to give rides to?
I know I give rides to a lot of people. We've talked about this like on this podcast many times before, kind of the role I fit with my friend group. I am the giver of rides.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it's very seldom that I am in the passenger seat in any vehicle.
I'm trying to remember when the last time was I asked you to give me a ride. I'm sure I know it's happened thousands of times, but I'm trying to think what the last one was. What was our last ride, JJ? Oh, did I? No, I didn't ride with you to the that breakfast buffet. We drove separately, didn't we?
Did. No. No, we drove separately.
We drove separately.
We went our separate ways.
By the way, I'm still thinking about that breakfast buffet.
It was so good, wasn't it?
It was so good.
So good. One of the local restaurants here, the name of their breakfast buffet is the Lawless Brunch. Now, this place is not Old West themed. It's not, like the Sheriff of Nottingham themed. This restaurant is as kind of, plain Jane as it gets. And so I was like, wait, why are you calling it the Lawless Brunch? And I also know that's not true because you do have stipulations about like the number of caramel rolls I can have. That sounds like a pretty strict law to me.
It's fairly regulated. Yeah. So I don't know if regulations and laws are always the same thing.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. All laws are regulations. Not all regulations are laws.
Ooh, I love it when people do stuff like that.
Right.
I really love those.
Yeah.
Let me bring up some thoughts that I've had this week. I know this is kind of bouncing around everywhere, but I was thinking about, I want to make a movie called The Littler Mermaid. And it's about a mermaid who's happy where she's at. And she's slightly younger than Ariel, even though Ariel is supposed to be the youngest of King Triton's like daughters. But I think that she's littler, maybe both in stature and in age. And it's all about how she's she loves being under the sea. You're gonna hear that song 3 times in this movie. Okay. I also have another idea for a movie where it's 2 lovers, and then they find out after after they've been together for a couple of months that one of them has been chosen to be the new president of America. And the stress that puts on their relationship. Now, they previously, neither of them was running for the role of president, but in a weird loophole, like a King Ralph style loophole, one of them becomes the president, and they're like, the other one's like, I love you, and be like, I've got the whole country on my shoulders. Don't be like this. And so I think that would actually be pretty good. I think I'd want to watch that one.
That's really funny.
Also, I made this. I got to go into my phone to get my notes because do you use the notes section of your phone? I think we've talked about
all the time. All the time.
I love the notes section.
I love it. I just love it because it's synced between like my 20 Apple devices,
which is really nice, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so horrible inventions that everyone uses. Easter grass. You know that cellophane grass that they put like in Easter baskets?
Oh, so these are your movie ideas?
No, this is just an idea.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Are these the culmination of of hammock time?
Yes, very much so. In fact, I've been loving my hammock. I've just been crushing it.
When you said earlier that you were having issues with water,
yeah,
I thought you were going to bring it up like a Mowgli situation, like a Gremlins, like it's an actual problem if water comes into contact with you. Like how often is that a plot device?
Oh, so often. I mean, every movie I would make would have an ode to water. And people would be like, well, there's no way that he would have all these throwbacks to water. That's a stupid thing to include in all his movies. But I'd be doing it nonstop with water. Um, I also love the movie Jaws, which is set in the water. The water plays a big role in the movie Jaws because it's about a shark, and not some kind of shark that can walk on land, but like a water shark in the water. Also, you know who the biggest like pain in the butt in that movie is Richard Dreyfuss, and as Hoopa. And every time he gets startled, he ruins something. So, for example, when the like decapitated head in the boat pops out, and he goes, "Wah!" And then he drops his flashlight, and then he gets up and he's like, "Oh, I got scared of this head." And then they put him down in the shark cage, and the shark comes towards him, and all he's got to do is poke the shark in the mouth with the drugs, and he drops his spear all the way down to the ground. Like, he just keeps ruining. He ruins it over and over and over again.
How do you think you would fare in that situation? In all honesty,
okay. If I had to go fight a shark, I have said this for years, decades. I would get one of those rivet guns that they use to build like giant buildings made out of steel, and I would mount one of those so that when the shark comes close to the boat, I could fire off hot rivets.
Yeah,
and that would definitely pierce the hide.
Speaking of classic movies, there's a sensitive topic that I think you and I need to cover on this show before
do you want to know
go
something
any further.
You are not like, I was asked independently of you by no less than 5 people this same question.
I don't doubt it. So they recently announced that we are in fact getting Spaceballs the sequel.
Spaceballs 2, The Quest for More Money.
Right. And the big question is, and has it been answered definitively? I know you said they were thinking Josh Gad, but it was John Candy who played the role of Barf in Spaceballs 1, who is no longer with us. So what are they going to do to address it? You said you heard a rumor they were going to say he's dead and Josh Gad is his son.
Yeah. So Josh Gad has been trying to get Spaceballs 2 made for a long time. Now, lest we forget, there is a Spaceballs animated series that did include the character of Barf, okay? And in that, I'm going to tell you exactly what the guy's name is who did the voice of Barf.
I didn't realize there was a Spaceballs animated series.
And because it is horrible.
When did this come out?
So they had kind of talked about this for a while. This was ran from 2008 to 2009. And let's see how many episodes that we have on this thing.
Never even heard of it.
Yeah, it's not good. And like, Rick Moranis doesn't come back. A guy named D. Bradley Baker plays Dark Helmet. It has 15 episodes. Who does come back? Joan Rivers, Daphne Zuniga comes back for it. Dom DeLuise is Pizza the Hut in one episode. Rudy DeLuca, who played like the dude who like was with Pizza the Hut, is in there. And then Tino Isana plays Barf. And when I look at Tina Lasana, okay, known for the movie Barnyard, Sledgehammer, Beverly Hills Cop 3, he played Burly Cop. Does a lot of voice work, none of it good voice work.
So JJ and I were talking about this issue via text, and I really liked your idea. So we were talking about the idea of doing like stunt casting, right? Like if the notion really is, oh, Josh Gad is just playing John Candy, he's the big fat guy. Okay, yeah, he's funny. Okay. But what if you decided to do something like almost like a stunt casting? And I actually think about the sequel series to Wet Hot American Summer, where they don't try to, cover the fact that it's like 20 years later and all the actors are way older now. They're just playing it like it's the next day, and they don't they just go, yep, that's just part of this, right? What if either you cast the Barf character, but with someone who is completely against type, like an Eddie Murphy, or Barf is dead, but now there's a bunch of his, what you said, his puppies,
His litter.
his litter.
Litter.
And they all have different variations of a name dealing with regurgitation.
Right. So there's one called regurgitation. There's puke. There's a set of twins named throwing up. And they could be played by everyone from like Tim Meadows. You had mentioned Melissa McCarthy as one of like the options out there.
I mentioned. I don't think I mentioned Melissa.
That wasn't you. That must have been in one of my many other, half a dozen other conversations.
No, I think I asked you what would you do if they announced a Melissa McCarthy.
I'd be very mad. I mean, Will Sasso maybe shows up as one of these. I don't know. To be quite honest.
Okay, let's do this then. JJ, you don't have to give them names, but Dream Puppies cast, Dream Litter cast that you're going to pick up to 5 people, 5 actors.
Okay.
And you JJ, you're like, all right, all I know is these actors are going to play the litter. What their names are, anything can come or go as you please. But who are the 5 actors with your unlimited budget? They have to be alive. They have to be working.
They have to be alive?
They have to be alive. They have to be currently living. Who would it be?
I would start, my first one without a doubt would be a guy who actually is in a movie coming out that you're excited about, Paul Walter Hauser. So this guy has got an Academy Award nomination. He was in the I, Tonya movie. He's been in a bunch of stuff. So he's kind of the perfect, like, sort of schlubby actor these days.
Isn't he in the new Naked Gun?
He's in the new Naked Gun. Like, and he's coming out, and I think he would be fantastic. Okay. I think that he would. I think he would knock it out of the park. I think this would be a great opportunity. Maybe he's only got 1 or 2 scenes, but for Jack Black to come into this situation, I think he could do a wonderful, wonderful job here. Okay, so that's 2. Let's see. I need another. Like, I'm looking specifically at like the chubbier actors who could do something. Like Wayne Knight lost too much weight to be.
So you think they all need to be on that chubby side?
I really feel like, I mean, if we're doing his litter, if I'm choosing it myself, I all want them to be slightly John Candy-esque.
Right on.
Right.
Okay.
I think that there's a world where, I mean, I'm trying to think, like, I mean, because there's so many people who would like do an homage to John Candy, which might be kind of nice. But like, even though he's not chubby, I feel like Paul Rudd, maybe. Like, you know, like, wouldn't that be good? Right?
Yep. Absolutely.
And quite frankly, I didn't like him so much when he was on SNL, but he might do really well in this. But Bobby Moynihan, might have the chutzpah to make this happen. And then I get one more. I get one final choice when it comes down to it. And I'm trying to think of someone who like worked with John Candy. That would be actually, I know who it is. I absolutely know who it is. Tom Hanks.
Oh, I thought. Oh, yeah. Of course. Right. There you go.
Tom Hanks plays one of the.
His name's Hooch.
Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect. It works on so many levels. So yeah, I feel like that would be like a good group of people who would probably do a good job and appreciate what that man was trying to accomplish. And like, I would never pick someone like a Jim Belushi, you know, because it's just not there. You know, John Candy, actually, like a John Candy movie that I think is kind of forgotten, but really worth its weight in gold is called Summer Rental. Are you familiar with the film Summer Rental? So Summer Rental, he plays an air traffic controller who has like a nervous breakdown in the first 10 minutes of the movie. The movie actually turns 40 years old this year. I think it was 1985 that movie came out. And so he plays a character named Jack Chester. And Jack Chester is forced to take like a sabbatical for the summer. So he and his family rent a beach house, and they go down to like stay in this beach house. And I'm not going to tell you about all the jokes and everything, but in the end, he ends up getting involved in a regatta, in a boat that is owned by Rip Torn, who plays a pirate named Scully. It is honest to God, it is one. It's one of those. So he's a family man, right? And it's about him trying to give his family something. Some of the best roles for John Candy are where he plays a family man. So, for example, Summer Rental, fantastic, right? The Great Outdoors, where he's all he wants is for his kids to have this great memory. These are the movies we're not getting today, where a dad so desperately wants to give his kids like a great memory that he keeps messing it up, like a la Vacation, right? And then Uncle Buck. Uncle Buck is him being a fish out of water, trying to be a family man, and it not going the way that he wants it to go. Those are some of the best John Candy movies you can find out there. If you get a chance, Summer Rental, I'm telling you, it's directed by Carl Reiner.
Ooh.
Yeah, right, exactly. And who doesn't love a little Carl Reiner? He found such a sweetness inside of like the John Candy performance. It's
Carl
very
Reiner
good.
could be one of the puppies.
No, he's dead.
Carl Reiner's dead?
Carl Reiner's dead. Sorry to tell you that, buddy.
Oh, damn. Who am I thinking of?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Another guy named Carl who's still alive.
When
Carl
did he
Reiner
die?
was half of like the 1,000-year-old man.
No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Rob Reiner.
Oh, his son.
His son. I was like, yeah, Mel Brooks could be one of the puppies.
Yeah.
No.
Carl Reiner died in June
right.
of 2020 at 98 years old.
That's right.
He was great in the Ocean's movies, the Dick Van Dyke Show. That guy's funny.
Speaking of celebrities who've died, so ever since the death of Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys, I have been on a huge Beach Boys kick.
Have you now? Have you watched the movie?
And it's really surprised me. No, not yet.
You should, because that man was a tortured soul. Holy moly.
I never, ever paid attention to the Beach Boys. I knew the songs that everyone else knew because they were played absolutely everywhere, right? You'd learn them on Sesame Street, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah.
And so I always just thought of them as, that sort of old surf band, that whatever. I couldn't even at that time, up until Brian Wilson's death, I wouldn't be able to tell you the name of any Beach Boy. So when he dies, and I'm seeing all these like tributes, including from people I know on Facebook saying, what a genius, what a blah, blah, blah. I'm like, really? The guy from Beach Boys? And so I decided to dive in, and I realized, oh my God, I have been missing out on some absolutely phenomenal, brilliant music. So I've been going on. I'd say it's really a Brian Wilson kick. But after being sort of really interested in him as a person, I got interested in his brothers, Carl and Dennis. And then I just don't want to really get into Mike Love all that much. Mm-hmm. But but I'm like super into it right now. And it's surprising the hell out of me. I need to go out and get a copy of Pet Sounds now on vinyl.
Do you know, okay, my favorite Beatles song is on Pet Sounds.
Beatles song?
I'm sorry. My favorite Beatles song is on Pet Sounds. My favorite Beach Boys song is on Pet Sounds. It's God Only Knows.
Yep.
And listen, dear listener, you need to do a deep dive. So go and listen to the song God Only Knows, and you're like, oh yeah, I recognize this. When you do a deep dive into this is why they called Brian Wilson a genius. So it's a Baroque style love song that has like these really complex like instrumental cues, and people say it has more in common with classical composer structures like that of Bach and Stravinsky than you would see in any other pop song of the era. It is fantastic. And then when you go deeper into it, it's like pretty amazing. The parody of Brian Wilson in the movie Walk Hard, when he's making his Opus song and he's bringing in all these things to make sounds and things like that. Oh, it's just fantastic. It's so great.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm a Beach Boys fan now, or at least I'm a Wilson Brothers fan.
Do you have a song that's calling your name now? It doesn't have to be your favorite, but one that calls your name.
I'm so early to this, so the ones that stand out would be the two that Brian Wilson in his own interviews said were his like crowning achievements. One was God Only Knows, but the other was Good Vibrations. And Good Vibrations is at this moment is my favorite for sure, because when you put headphones on and really like pay attention to it, you realize how complex Good Vibration is. And normally you don't think of it because we all think of that one sort of Mike Love chorus where he's like, I'm picking up good vibrations, she's giving me excitations.
Mhm.
Everyone thinks of that one moment and they think it's talking about like a car, but it's not. It's talking about something completely different. And the song itself is actually spliced together from completely random different bits of music that he recorded in its own on their own times that he didn't intend to put together at any point. But if you listen to it, you hear like hard tape splices between the opening and then the chorus and then all these other things, and it becomes this absolutely amazing landscape where like you don't get Sergeant Pepper without getting Good Vibrations. You don't get Bohemian Rhapsody without getting Good Vibrations. Things like that, right? And it's in not realizing that, like this entire time, just thinking of that one chorus. Although another one I'd have to say that it's again, it's a popular one, but it's Get Around. I Get Around
Mhm.
is great. I never knew what the words were until like 2 days ago. Besides the Get Around part, like the falsetto solo in the background of the chorus that Brian Wilson is singing. I think it's yeah.
I
Shoot,
I
I'm
highly
blanking on it.
I highly recommend that you watch the opening title sequence to the movie Vegas Vacation, who uses Good Vibrations perfectly,
Yeah.
really well.
I get around from town to town. I'm a real cool head making real good bread. That's what it is. I love that line. I
Bread
absolutely love that line.
meaning
Money.
money.
I'm making real good bread. Another one from Good Vibrations is I don't know where, but she sends me there. That's a great line. Phenomenal line.
Do you want to know something that might blow your mind?
Yeah.
So, when making a song like Good Vibrations, they're like, we're going to use all these different instruments, right? So, like,
Mm-hmm.
sleigh bells are into it. Like, there's a
Mm-hmm.
whole
So
bunch of
theremin,
stuff.
I think.
Right. One of the things that they used as an inspiration for that was an ocarina. And there are some pretty amazing fan theories that say The Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time, is because it's an homage to Brian Wilson and Pet Sounds. Does that blow your mind?
That'd be awesome if it was.
I mean, stranger things have happened in this world, much stranger things. Speaking of stranger things, I did not buy a Switch 2, and I don't know anyone else who ended up getting a Switch 2. And so if you did, let me know what you think. I'm not going to be buying one anytime soon because I already have a backlog of video games that are insane, and I just don't have the time to play them anymore. But this open world Mario Kart has me very intrigued.
Yeah, I wait, open world Mario Kart.
Yeah, apparently the latest Mario Kart, it's called Mario Kart World, and it's an open world Mario Kart where you like engage in street races by stumbling upon them, and you have like side missions and stuff. So
You just convinced me to get a Switch too.
that's the thing that changed your memory
Changed my memory.
or
Changed
changed
my
your
mind.
mind.
Yeah, that sounds phenomenal.
I know it
That
sounds
sounds
good.
absolutely phenomenal.
I want to know if someone's played it, and I want to know. So, okay, and on that note, I think it's important that I just end this by saying I do love water. It's great. I love water scenes in movies. I love water. I love watching people in water, even if they don't know I'm watching at the time. And I think that what we should do, Tucker, is since it's been a while since you've been in a pool, I think we should go to the new Island Park pool. Because there's been something that's been added to pools since you really started getting in them, which is the lazy river that I think is right up your alley. That's going to wrap it up for today's show. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to help us continue to produce new episodes each week, visit jjmeetsworld.com, where you can donate to our Patreon, pick up some swag at the merch shop, or follow our link to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. You can also follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all the sites the cool kids are using these days. JJ Meets World is produced every week by Tucker Lucas. You can find out more about Tucker's work by visiting moonbasemaria.com. If you want to get in touch with your host with the most, check out linebenders.com where you can find direct contact info for JJ or booking information. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean water. I mean piss.